So welcome to the More Revenue Roundtable. I'll be your host. My name is Breck. I'm a co-founder of the ServeRx company. Been helping community pharmacies for over 20 years now, and absolutely love the industry. Will do everything in my power to help our community pharmacy partners. We'll talk more about ServeRx and what we do here shortly, but wanted to share some other great information we have for you today too as well. So also, besides being the co-host of ServeRx, I host a couple of podcasts. I host the PBM Reform podcast on the Pharmacy Podcast Network, and then a brand new Well Wave Now podcast that just launched, and is every Tuesday afternoon. I'll put the information in the chat for anyone that wants to join that meeting as well. So host these roundtables for our community pharmacy partners a couple times a month. We've had a couple of weeks off, but we're getting back going again here, and excited to share with you some great information. Like I said, I love community pharmacy. I'll do everything I can to help our pharmacy partners be successful. Launched this campaign to help community pharmacies after seeing this Fortune report about how many pharmacy closures that there has been. And this is a kind of an old report, because there's been well over 2,000 community pharmacies that have closed, and so I wanted to bring that to your attention, that it's becoming a problem, and you can see what the main problem is the low PBM reimbursements. When I started in the industry over 20 years ago, they were fair reimbursements. Pharmacies got reimbursed about 35-36%, and today they're lucky to get 3 to 5% on dispensing medications. It's pretty hard to stay in business when you look at what the cost of the medications are and the overhead. There's actually a study that shows that over 1/4 of all of the medications that are dispensed from a community pharmacy are actually dispensed below the acquisition cost of the drug. So that's a real problem as well. Here's the payer mafia that's aligned against our community pharmacies. You can see everyone is lined up. Cigna is aligned with Express Scripts. Express Scripts is aligned with Walgreens, CVS, of course, CVS Pharmacy owning Aetna, having their own PBM, CVS Health or Caremark. So they're aligned against you. And then even though United Healthcare doesn't own a bunch of pharmacies, they have one of the largest mail order pharmacies in the country. So if any of your patients are on a maintenance medication where they're going to have multiple refills, they're going to automatically get a letter from Optum RX makes it look like their only option is to get the refill through the mail order. So they're taking, even though they're paying you a horrible reimbursement, that's okay, because they're also going to steal the patient from you too and take them to their mail order pharmacy just as quickly as they possibly can. So everything's aligned against you to try to keep you from surviving. And then, of course, everyone's very familiar with the DIR fees and how ridiculous those are, and how that huge increase of over 91,000% would make a gallon of milk cost about $3,600. So absolutely insane and difficult for pharmacies to survive, and that's why there's been so many closures, unfortunately. Here are some of the closures that are super sad to me, because these pharmacies were around for over 80 years, one for over 106 years that won't even see 107 years because they ended up just having to close their doors. Here's another list of additional closures. I get the updates from all of our PSAO partners, so we're the preferred third-party payer for all of the PSAOs, and so we get their updates whenever there's a closure, and it's really a sad situation. And so I want to do something about that, and so I started looking at what makes some of the other pharmacies survive and do okay. Well, obviously the supermarket pharmacies, they have all the front end of all their groceries and everything else that they sell there. Mass merchandisers don't have all of their eggs in one basket, but our independent pharmacies are putting all their eggs in one basket, right? And over 90% of your revenue is coming from dispensing. So you need to get away from that. I believe that about 1/3 of all of your revenue needs to come from non-dispensing sources. And so that's why I've put on this roundtable. Okay. When I was little, I used to play Pee Wee League hockey, back when the equipment, all your pads and everything, weighed more than the kid. So you were indestructible. It was a lot of fun. One of my favorite all-time players is Wayne Gretzky. In an interview, when asked what made him so much better than other players, this was his comment. He skates to where the puck is going to be, not where it has been. We need to do that as community pharmacy. We need to go to where the market is going, and not expect to continue to do what we've always done and expect a different outcome. That's the definition of insanity, right? And so want to share a quick little explainer video here about our program, and turn some time over to my good friend Will Shaw to give you a little more information.
An injured worker comes into your pharmacy. What do? Do they have a PBM card? Who is their carrier? Will I have to make a bunch of calls to find out? Will I get paid? And if I get paid, will it even cover the cost of the drugs? Don't worry, just send the claim to ServeRx. They will do all the work, guarantee payments, and you will even make more. Less work and more money. What do you have to lose? You are probably already contracted through your PSAO. All you need to do is enroll. www.serverx.com.
All right, Will.
Breck said, we love our community pharmacies. We're here to just help keep those fair reimbursement to the pharmacy that you legally deserve. We have no affiliation with the PBMs. We're out of network. So for example, if a patient would come into the pharmacy and they need a meloxicam, if you were to adjudicate that meloxicam to a PBM, your pharmacy may be reimbursed $3 to $4 for that medicine. Now, that same medication, if you were to adjudicate through ServeRx's beneficiary, your pharmacy could be reimbursed. Now we're seeing anywhere from $101 to $105, and that will be reimbursed to your pharmacy in 30 days if you are with a PSAO. If you are an independent pharmacy, ServeRx will reimburse the pharmacy that payment in 45 days. And how we're able to give that pharmacy that fair reimbursement that they legally deserve is we reimburse the pharmacy AWP. So each state has a state schedule fee that ServeRx will buy. So a majority of the state fee schedule go from anywhere from 85% for brand medications of AWP to 70% for generic to AWP plus a valid expense fee. We do have a live help desk that's available 7 days a week. So if a pharmacy was to receive a rejection for a claim, you could go ahead and give our help desk a call, and we can help the pharmacy receive that pay label. Again, it's a free service to the pharmacy. There's no enrollment fees, no annual fees, no monthly fees. ServeRx, we are just an added value benefit. I went ahead and put my contact information in the chat. I could easily help you just to help your pharmacy get set up so you can start receiving those fair reimbursements. So feel free to please reach out.
Thank you, Will. Appreciate it. And if any of you haven't had the opportunity to meet Will Shaw, super famous, so you want to get to know him. This gentleman spent over 12 years traveling all over the world entertaining families as one of our Harlem Globetrotters. So if you haven't had a chance to visit with Will, hop on the phone and chat with him. He's got some amazing stories. ask him where the best food was in the world, because he's been everywhere in the world. So thanks, Will. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Yeah, so besides directing our sales program at ServeRx, he's also continues his basketball fame in coaching now. So coaches high school and also youth leagues. Every time I turn around, I see one of his teams winning another championship. So he must be an amazing coach also. Well, I know he is. So thanks, Will. Appreciate you sharing that information. Again, Will's contact information is up in the chat. If you're not already set up, this is a free service, value-added service that we offer to community pharmacies to help you get the fair reimbursements you deserve, like Will said. So, you know, we have an amazing program that I need to share with you today, and so I'm going to really quickly go over some of the other products that we have launched for your front-end sales here. And my apologies to some of the vendors that may be here today. Please set up a one-on-one to chat with them directly, because we've got a really important thing I need to share with you today, and so we're not going to have time to go into each and every one of these. I'll put this information up in the chat for you so you can contact every one of these. By the way, ServeRx does not get anything from that. We're not getting any kickbacks. We just truly love community pharmacy. We're trying to do everything we can to help you be successful. So MOTIVO Scar Care, an amazing new scar program that's out for scar care. There's even a scar tape, and it even matches your skin tone, which is really cool. The Nasoclenz, developed by a doctor. She's a surgeon, right? And she found out that in the surgical suites, about 60% of the contamination actually came from the nasal cavity of the patient on the table. And so was developed this amazing antiseptic gel. Also great for allergies. I use it for allergies, any, just dry nose or hydration. Use it for travel, because then it helps cut down on anything that you might be breathing in that can make you sick. Breath Rocks, I think you guys are all familiar with Breath Rocks. It was launched last fall at we launched it here on the roundtable, and then it went successful at the last NCPA conference. Scott is here with Germs RX, the MyShield product. I don't travel without this. This is absolutely a must-have for traveling. I'll use the wipes and wipe down my grandkids from head to toe when I'm traveling with them, because I know they're going to touch everything on the plane. And so this gives, FDA says 4 hours of protection, which means you're probably getting 5 or 6 hours of protection. This replaces the alcohol-based hand sanitizer. This one bottle right here will replace about 60 or 70 bottles of the alcohol-based hand sanitizer. There's a whole program on that. You need to talk to Scott about that. And then I think everybody's familiar with the BioLite product. We launched it here first on the roundtable, and then it has now available through all of your wholesalers. So you can just get this through McKesson, Cardinal, AmerisourceBergen now. And I forgot to open the package they sent me, but it now comes in a powder form too, so you can just add it to your own waters, which is a lot easier for shipping and storage in your pharmacies. So the first and only IV in a bottle. Appreciate those wonderful programs that are helping to bring in new revenue for our community pharmacies. All right, so should be multi-share now, Ray, so that you can share your screen. But want to introduce, if most of you are familiar with Outcomes and then CPESN with NCPA on all the clinical services to help our pharmacies really, operate at the top of their credentialing. This takes you well beyond that. The Independent Pharmacy Provider Network is absolutely a must-have. You've heard me talk about bringing in clinical services. You've heard me talk about the Wellness Center program. This is the prerequisite to that. You absolutely have to have this in place in order for you to do clinical services. One of my clients that we did an analysis on did quite a few flu shots last flu season, was reimbursed just under $170,000 for all of their work. They will do the same amount of work this flu season. Don't even have to increase the number of patients. And under the IPPN program, they'll generate $1 million or more. So from $170,000 to $1 million in revenue. So Ray, please share your screen and tell us about your program.
So, IPPN was really set up after collaborating with Breck, understanding some of the issues that independent pharmacies have encountered. And really what my background is in quality care analysis for healthcare providers. And when we looked at the process that many of these pharmacies go through, they failed in setting up a collaborative practice agreement in two areas. One being provider recruitment. They didn't have the providers that would participate in this community care model or this community care program. And number two, they failed on contracting and credentialing. So we've addressed this through our IPPN pharmacy provider network. What we look to accomplish is we want to give pharmacies access to new revenue opportunities, and we want to give them access to new revenue opportunities through clinical processes, right? Being able to do a clinical visit, be able to see a patient of a provider while you have the provider doing the virtual supervision and through an incident to billing. But these all need to be set up in a way so that it is acceptable in each and every state. So our program allows for this collaborative practice agreement specific to the states that you're operating in, and it allows them to be able to take advantage of new revenue opportunities. What we try to do is we create an entity that allows the pharmacy to go beyond its current billing limits. No longer do you need to bill just for a level 1 visit. You can get into level 2, 3, and in some cases, depending on the complexity of the patient and the visit, you can go even to a level 4 visit. Increased community care and health equity is kind of the initial role that we started, and it was started for providers, for doctors in communities to be able to increase access to good health care. Anytime you're dealing with the bureaucracy of hospitals, so where we come in is that we have access to data from CMS, from the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services. We have access to every single provider and the roster or the number of patients that they actually serve under straight Medicare. And then we look at that and we go to these providers on behalf of the pharmacy to be able to get them to participate in this community care program. So you're always adding patients. My partner and I, Rick, who's on the call, we did a presentation the other day, a very small pharmacy in Tennessee. That was their biggest concerns. How do we get to providers? How do we get to doctors that will then share their patients with us? We do that. Our program is turnkey from the moment that you sign the agreement to when you start seeing patients under the collaborative practice agreement. We're taking advantage of some standardized CMS rules like the incident to billing. We're taking advantage of, initially anyways, virtual supervision, but with our provider recruitment program, we're getting local providers to work with local pharmacies, which is probably the best way to be able to grow your business. Increasing that billable revenue is important. We have our own process that we go through. Basically we gather the information, we help that we present you with a fully functional collaborative practice agreement. We look to help you establish a new entity if you need it. We work with getting you a new NPI. We can do that typically the same day as we submit. Once we have that new NPI, then we start contracting and credentialing. With the contracting credentialing, we start with Medicare. So then we can actually start seeing patients. And because of the collaborating providers that we bring in, we're able then to be able to start seeing patients. Our revenue model is simple. It allows for revenue we take about 90 days to set up the entity, set up the new NPI, get all of the contracting, get the credentialing completed. After the first 90 days of doing this activity, we then we work with you on patient acquisition, and we continue our marketing into the providers within your area. We can pull up data on any provider in any market, we have a very strong and compelling reason why these providers should be joining in order to help them stay in business. We help these providers with their quality measures through our collaboration. We define all the rules under the collaborative practice agreement. We also provide the application that allows you all the documentation and the billing to be put together so that it's submitted and the entity is getting paid. Typically, the return on investment, the only investment, by the way, is just the setup fees, which are only in place for the first 3 months. It's $2,500 a month per location. And the reason we do per location is because we align these providers per location. We do a lot of activity specifically for those entities at those locations. And then after that, you're going to be generating money through the revenue. The typical return for the pharmacy is anywhere between 46 to 56% return. So there is a quick return, and the ROI is literally within the first 3 months of operations, you're getting back any money that's put up, and then you're operating at a profitable experience. So that I don't know if I've covered everything for us here, Breck. If you want me to get into some other things, I can. But I'm open for any meetings. Breck, if you want to, we'll put out our calendar link for myself to be available, and that you guys can schedule calls directly with us.
Yep, Ray, just put that Calendly link and your contact information up in the chat. It'd be great. And then, the one thing that I'll say about this is that you don't have to have a clinical room to start with this program. So most people have been focusing on, getting their clinical room together, and you can do this virtually. So every pharmacy can use the Independent Pharmacy Provider Network to get started. The phase 2 is then actually seeing and working with those patients right in-house in your pharmacy, getting into diabetes management and heart health and all of the other programs that will come. I've seen them map out like the next 2 or 3 years worth of services that can be brought into your community pharmacy. And this is a community collaboration. So you're not, a lot of the other programs and why they've failed is, overhead, having to pay for a nurse practitioner or someone like that is pretty expensive. And then they're taking the patients away from their community doctors. This program collaborates with the community doctors, and you work together as healthcare was intended to be. So it helps you collaborate with those local doctors so that that you're making sure that they're getting the very best outcome as possible. Dr. DeMar, you had your hand up?
So Ray, is the program effective if you don't want to do like immunizations?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, because what you're doing is you're setting up a virtual clinic essentially with the supervision of a provider in the community. And so the collaborative practice agreement that we put together includes services like even just regular E&M services. It includes services like for just wellness visits on behalf of those providers that are providing the patients. It includes lab orders in some cases, depending on the state, review of lab results. And if you have a lab, you want to do some blood samples, you want to provide equipment, you can do that under the collaborative practice agreement. And I'm glad you asked the question because essentially everything is done under the supervision of that provider, which includes the provider's requirement to create a care plan for each and every patient that then is adhered to by the care team.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, great
Thank you.
question.
Thank you for the question.
I'm going to also put in the chat here one of the other services that is provided, and this is something any one of you can use too. This is a great marketing tool, but it truly does add longevity to your patients' lives. So if you want to add 8 to 10 years to your life, take this health risk assessment. This is the Independent Pharmacy Provider Network's health risk assessment. And if you can answer those questions appropriately, the first 5 or 6 questions appropriately, you literally will add a decade to your life. If you can't respond to those appropriately, you need to set an appointment, right? You need to come into one of your community care centers, one of our community pharmacies, and get checked out. So, like I said, that is phase 1. You need to get that set up before you can even start talking about the turnkey wellness clinic in a box. That's when you get into the actual brick and mortar clinic right inside of your pharmacy. That program is, that partnership is with Brim Wellness Centers, and I can get you more information about that. Let me fast forward here to our next part of the presentation, which we're at already over a half hour in, and want to make sure we have enough time to cover now how to take care of yourself financially. So once you have this new revenue coming in the door, you want to protect that and keep more of it. And so, what would you say to reducing your tax obligation by 20 or up to even 40%? And so that's what we want to talk about next, and turn some time over to Richard and Damar. I'll stop sharing my screen so that we can get into your prescription for financial success.
And ladies and gentlemen, I'll probably go pretty rapidly on this, and there's a lot of information that we'll walk through. However, what I want to get across to you is the process and the premise of what we work with. And if you've got interest in this, then connect and we can go into depth relative to your specific business. But what we're talking about is the tax strategy analysis that we work with. We represent a tax law firm, which we'll go into in depth in a little bit here, that typically reduces the taxes of business owners by 20 to 40%. And I've seen it much higher than that, and I've seen it lower when you have a bunch of taxes to pay, and we are there. But the amount of savings, very common for us to be saving $30, $40, $60, $80,000 a year in taxes, depending upon your particular circumstance, of course. So what we're looking at is most business owners are overpaying their taxes. Let's talk about why. The problem is that over 94% of businesses in the United States are what we call pass-through entities. They are sub-S corporations, they're LLCs, partnerships, sole proprietorships, and what a pass-through entity means is that you are passing through your profits. If you are successful, what happens is that all of the profits pass through on your K-1 from your company directly to you as an individual, and you are paying taxes at that individual tax rate. Individual tax rate is the highest level of taxes that you can pay. In many states, the Californias, Illinois, New York, Massachusetts, New Jersey, taxes can actually, the marginal tax rates can hit 50% of your marginal income. And the vast majority of the owners of pass-through businesses are not taking advantage of statutory tax breaks. Matter of fact, they can't take advantage of all the statutory tax breaks because they are not structured properly to be able to take advantage of those. So why are they missing out? Well, every different company has different advantages and disadvantages. Your sole proprietorship, partner, S Corp, whatever, there are differing structures for that. A C corporation, however, over the decades has created a lot of benefits for a C corporation employee because they've got more money in political clout. They're the Facebooks and the Amazons of the world that have been paying for lobbyists forever. And the problem is that SMB management is focused on your day-to-day activities. When we start our businesses, and I count myself in this because I've owned and started many companies in my career. When we start our businesses, we say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this service. We're going to build this widget. We're going to provide this product for our clients. And we go to a CPA and we say, what should we do? And they say, let's do an LLC or let's do a sub S. And then we start doing our stuff. From that point on, you do not look at the specifics of how to be able to take advantage of tax strategies. Because when you start out, obviously, you're hoping to make enough money to have a tax problem, and you never move past that. Your tax preparers are doing exactly what they are supposed to do. They are focused on compliance. They are making sure that you are not overpaying your taxes, that you have your payroll properly, that you have your depreciation schedules, et cetera, and that's what they do. And if you want any proof of that they're focused on that, is try to get a hold of your tax preparer between January 1st and April 15th of any given year, because they are focused on that. There are over 74,000 pages in the IRS code, and no one can be an expert in everything. So when they focus on what they're supposed to do, they're doing what they're supposed to do, but they are also missing out on pieces that are available for you. Same way with attorneys. Corporate attorneys are doing their job perfectly, but they're typically focused on contractual law, business transaction law, and they're not specialists in maximizing your business and personal tax advantages. So what kind of breaks are you missing by doing this? You're missing, for example, Section 125 benefits. You as a 2% or more owner of a pass-through entity are by law, you are not allowed to have many of the benefits that you actually can offer your own employees. These are benefits there. There are specialized deferred compensation programs that are available to you if you are properly structured. There's 831B, which is captive insurance carriers. There's enhanced benefit deductions. There's payroll tax and planning, cost segregation. There are all kinds of benefits that are available to you, but you probably haven't taken advantage of them because we're not focused on how do we reduce our taxes. So what's the answer? We think that the answer is Incentive Advisors, our company, which is an association with Tax Law Associates. TLA is a specialty tax consulting firm. We function as an advisor to help you identify whether you might qualify for these, for the benefits, and to create the structure that allows you to take advantage of them. The Tax Law Associates is a specialty tax consulting firm established in 2002. Mike Fusell, who I'll tell you about in a second, is the managing partner of Tax Law Associates. But TLA has been around since 2002. It's a national practice. We have almost 4,000 clients in all 50 states. So this is applicable to everybody. Mike, whom you will meet if you're interested in looking at this further. Mike is one of those unusual people who has more initials after his name than he does in his name. But he is an attorney. He's a master's of law in taxation. He is on the National Tax Court Review Board, and he is a CPA. So the firm comes at looking at this situation from both a legal and an accounting basis. The business entity structure is a legal thing. CPAs don't do that. That's not a legal thing. They work with the other. That's why we come at this from both perspectives, which allows you the best possibility of being able to reduce your taxes. But Mike's been doing this for over 27 years, and he knows it backwards and forwards. So here's what we're talking about with this tax strategy. You will have your own tax attorney in your advisory group, literally for the rest of your business career. But all of this is based upon creating a multi-entity structure. It is not difficult. It could be done easily by the law firm that takes care of this. But we create a dual entity structure for you so that you have your own C corporation. That C corporation becomes what referred to as a master payor. It is an employee leasing entity, and now your employees and you, as the owner of the company, become an employee of your own company. Obviously, right? Every C corporation, the CEO of a C corporation is an employee of that C corporation. As an employee of your C corp, now you are open. You are allowed to be able to take advantage of all of these different benefits. What we do is obviously be able to implement this into small and mid-sized businesses in a way that the huge corporations already take advantage of. We bring that to the SMB world. So TLA creates all the corporate structures. They create entities required. They do everything in order to be able to structure yourself properly to be able to take advantage of this. There are two sections to what we do, what you should expect. One is that current hard dollar savings, and these are literally dollars that you don't have to pay in taxes. So when we go through this, there's when I talk about $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year of taxes, this is literally hard reduced taxes. We literally go in, and when we are able to identify this, you are able to reduce your tax payments. That if you're successful, you are already getting a W-2 income, and you are probably taking quarterly, putting aside quarterly dollars. We are able to reduce those because your tax liability will have decreased by a minimum of the amount that we are able to show you. The tax reductions that we do are for every year. Once they get started, they're in place and they continue for year after year. Matter of fact, as you grow as a business, your actual dollars grow because they are typically percentages of that. Now, there are dollars. I won't go into the detail of how they are there, but honestly, when we do an analysis like this, we literally show you down to the dollar of what specific strategy is going to save you relative to what you paid last year. We can only look at what has been, but we're able to show these dollar savings relative to what you actually paid typically the year before. But they're in all of these areas. They're the allowances payable to shareholders, the use of personal assets. We're reducing the income and their tax favored income, that we're literally able to take dollars and pay them to you very, very legitimately and legally without being part of your taxation. There's cash flow issues, improved retirement plans and planning. In addition to that, those are the hard dollars. That's the headline, right? I mean, we're able to reduce taxes by 20 to 40%. However, perhaps even more valuable to you is what the tax attorneys look at for you, because they are going to review the formation of your real estate holdings, your structure, your agreements, what entity you've got them in. Is that proper? They're going to look at asset protection planning, making sure that you are, to the degree possible, that you are protecting all of your assets for now and the future. They're going to look at your estate planning, making sure that you are doing things properly in there that for your advantage. Succession planning, buy-sell agreements, your partners, what you want to have happen when you leave the business, because it's not an if, you will leave your business one way or the other. First, or walking out with your retirement, which the market can help you make more profit and will help you set it up properly. But succession planning is a huge area. Retirement planning, looking at the options coordination, and how do you maximize those areas given the structure that we help you create. There's going to be succession planning. I already mentioned that with buy-sell, retirement, employee retention. How do you keep that there? You have specialized people that you want to have some golden handcuffs for and be able to keep and make sure that they're there. Education planning, tax-free college funding, depending where you are in your career path. Other advanced approaches, tax-favored income sprinkling. I talked about golden handcuffs. All of these areas are reviewed for you as part of the overall process. We are not going to replace your financial advisor, your estate attorney, your accountant, or your CPA. We do not want to do that. We're not looking to take away anybody's business. As a matter of fact, we want to partner with them to ensure the maximum profitability, ease of implementation for you. We just work in our lane, which is to help you reduce your taxes by 20 to 40% and make sure that you are structured properly from a tax standpoint on all those other areas we already talked about. We're not going to do anything in the gray area. Everything we do is statutory, black and white, by the book. Mike is exceptionally proud of the fact that in 27 years of practice doing this, he has never had an audit by the IRS. Everything he does is extremely, like I said, is statutory and is extremely legal. He doesn't like to work in the gray areas at all. He has had, as part of his practice, the defense work for other people because he is, an attorney, a CPA, a PDQ, ASAP. He's got all these initials. There's no IRS person who is going to be able to match his level of expertise. So he's been very, very effective, powerful in the defense area, but he has not had to defend his own because he sets it up properly in the first place so that there are no challenges. We're not a retainer service. You will pay a first-time fee in the first year only, and that fee is typically based upon the amount of work that has to be done, different entities that have to be changed, etc., and upon the amount of savings. Your ROI on this in year one is typically around 100% ROI, and over a 5-year period, we typically have close to 1,000% ROI from the cost of the program. But you will have reoccurring savings every year for the life of your business. Our process, and I'll go very quickly, is if you are interested, then you will contact me. My information is in the chat. Grab it. If you are interested in this, I will sit down we'll Zoom for a half hour, and we will identify your company, talk about it, talk about your issues to see whether or not this is working for you. There is no obligation to what we do because of working with Breck. What we offer you is the ability to have an analysis, preliminary analysis done, identifying the minimum tax savings you have. And obviously, if you don't qualify, you don't qualify. There's no harm, no foul. So we will provide that information, and then if you decide you want to go forward, then we'll look at the actual numbers on theirs. So we look when we complete this, the attorney literally will fly out to you, or you can do Zoom if you prefer. But they will fly out and help you with all of the implementation, lay out everything, make sure you explanation on that. We invite other members of your family, if that's what you did that proper for you, and or your CPA or other consultants that you want to have involved in that. So this is exactly what I just walked through here. I'm not going to go into the specific detail of it, but that's what we do. We help implement everything so that you do not get bombarded in this. Our implementation tax law associates does a lot of that, but also so will your payroll people or your CPA or others. We work with them to make sure that it's implemented properly and as easily as possible directly for you. We have continuing support for the life of your business. I see often when Mike will reach behind himself and pull out a file that he's working with somebody that he did the work on 14 years ago, and now they're going to sell their business, and he's helping them figure out how the proper way to be able to do that. So all of that is there. Next, to get started, we complete questions, we upload documents, etc., and that's my story.
Awesome.
Let me know if you want to go further.
Thank you, Richard. Appreciate that.
Now I can take a second breath.
Yeah,
Right.
so stop sharing your screen so that Dr. Lewis can put up his screen, and hopefully, Dr. Lewis, you can cover this in 10 minutes. That's what we have.
I will do my best.
All right, thank you.
It's like the kid in the candy store. There's just too many things to choose from.
I know, and that's why we record this and encourage everybody to set up one-on-ones with you.
Our goals for today are really to look at our focus as a small business and specifically as a independent pharmacy owner. My detailed information is both in the chat and it's here. But to demonstrate the awesome power of profit acceleration is our main goal. And shift the focus from revenue to profit. A lot of times we, as business owners and pharmacy owners, we're more focused on how many things we do as opposed to are we doing the most profitable things. And if you can take nothing else away, but to focus your business where you're focusing on the things that are most profitable, then you're going to be in a much better spot as a result of that. I'm going to show you how you can find hidden profits within your business, and that it's not about the amount of money you have, it's how you use the money. And I'm going to show you that how you can take $1 million business or generate the profits of $1 million business with just with about 25%, $250,000 in revenue. And likewise, I'm going to show you right off the bat how you can double your profits. And we're going to focus in really just 4 different areas. And we're going to do this using the power of compounding. So for example, if you take a penny, you double it every 30 days. At the end of 30 days, you end up with $5 million, $368 and $709. And as a result. And so that just shows you that small incremental improvements can result in massive increases in revenue and profits. To help you understand this, I use a profit acceleration software. We're going to use a kind of scaled down version just because we're going to try to do this in 10 minutes versus if we can schedule 45 minutes, then I can show you how you can unlock between $50,000 to $100,000 within your business in a session. So again, if we can go to, I don't know if you can see that, but essentially jdpconsulting.org/simulator. And because that's going to be what we end up working off of. Okay. So we're going to take a company, a pharmacy owner who is generating about $2 million, just a little bit over $2 million in revenue. And gross margin is actually very low. For community pharmacy, it can range anywhere from 30% to as high as 80% if it's like a compounding pharmacy that's a cash-based business. So in this particular case, it's 19%, and their net profit margin is about 6%. And that is, well, it depends on the pharmacy, and it also depends on, as Breck was talking about, how much of their business is insurance-based prescriptions versus higher margin pharmacy activities. So we can see that the current annual profit is $138,000. For this particular pharmacist, the $100,000 is kind of what the pharmacist's take-home pay is. So he's actually making less than, his fellow pharmacists at the chain stores and probably other, even independent pharmacies. So there's not a lot of margin, and that was the thing, is there was no cash flow. And this is one of the biggest things that I encounter at the start of working with a small business independent pharmacy is they're struggling with cash flow, being able to make payroll, being able to pay the wholesalers. Okay, and so at the beginning I talked about doubling profits. How do we do that? Well, we're going to do that. I'll show you right now. The first area is we look at cutting costs, and we do. We're going to cut costs by just we're going to say 5%. And the way that we're going to do that, we're going to look at several areas. We're going to look at overhead. Are there any things that we can control or reduce overhead, whether it's rent, whether it's utilities, that can reduce it? And more importantly for a pharmacy owner is bundling your purchasing, especially with secondary contracts. This easily can exceed somewhere between 10 and 20% by just purchasing from one vendor as opposed to several vendors. The other area is pricing. Most small businesses do not change their pricing. The typical price change is about eight years. And, as Breck mentioned, pharmacies are closing roughly at a rate of 10 to 20%. So you may not make it to 8 years. if you're not really looking at your financials. So, and if we can increase it by 5.5%, then you can see that we've more than doubled the profitability. The other area that I'd like to talk about in the next 2 minutes is, so the pharmacy has cash flow, but most of the times they don't know what makes their pharmacy stand out. And that what that's called is market dominating position. Why do people come to my pharmacy as opposed to going to someone else? And this is the critical question that needs to be answered in order for you to be able to scale your business. So is it compounding? Is it immunizations? Is it providing care to wound care, or is it, as the BREM program provides, is it providing care to your community, which is, doctors and hospitals are overburdened right now, and they're not profitable, and they're trying to scale back services. So, but you have to define, okay, this is the reason why this is the reason why I'm here, and this is the customers that I serve. And so from that standpoint, market dominating position. And from market dominating position, you create what's a compelling offer. So let's take the example of compounding. I provide service to pediatric patients, and I also provide service to veterinarians or to naturopaths. And so I've got special compounds that I'm marketing to them, and as a result, they're going to know to come to me for those services. So I'm going to stop here so that we can stay on time. Really would recommend that you take the offer of taking a 45-minute consultation with me. It's a free consultation where we can identify potentially $100,000 within your business, and give you a roadmap of how to get there, over the remainder of this year.
Thank you, Dr. Lewis. Appreciate that. And I know we've thrown an awful lot at you in just a short hour. Please save the chat. Actually, I'll save it for you and send it out along with a link to the replay of this, because it is so much information to cover. But I'll stick around for a few minutes if there are any questions that I can help address right now. Otherwise, thank you very much for taking time again out of your busy schedules to be here. I highly recommend getting with and doing a one-on-one with any of our presenters today. Richard and Damar have already helped so many of our community pharmacies. It's exciting when I get an update from Richard on who else has been able to save. Last one was, and it was a lot. I don't think I'm legally allowed to tell you how much. It was a lot that they saved in their taxes. So I want to see that happen for all of you. But thanks again for being here for the more revenue. I'm going to change the title now, Damar, to More Profit, the More Profit Community Pharmacy Roundtable. So, but yeah, I'll stick around for any questions. Please just come off mute and holler, and we'll see if we can't get your questions answered.
I have to jump to another pharmacy that I'm working with, so thank you very much for the opportunity to make the presentation. Take care, and look forward to talking to you.
Thanks, Richard. Appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, I want to thank all of our presenters who presented today, and sorry we didn't get to Scott, some of the others with the front end products. He has an amazing program you need to look into with profit margins that are in the high 40s, over 50% profit margins on the Germs RX. So his information is in the chat as well. And I'll make sure and have him present next time. Trying to see when the next round table, I believe, is August. Might be the 14th. August the 14th will be the next round table. Happy birthday to me. That's my birthday. So I'll be here to share the latest and greatest on my birthday next month. So, but yeah, any other questions or comments?
Breck, I missed, thanks for putting this together. I missed what Ray was discussing. I think somebody asked a question regarding the immunizations and if they need to be doing those at the pharmacy, whether they can bill for them or not.
Yeah, that's the lowest hanging fruit, Tim. Tim, it's great to see you here, another one of our fellow Arizonans. So yeah, good to see you here today. That's the lowest hanging fruit, is the pharmacies that are already providing immunizations. Then you can move that over to the clinical side and literally 4 or 5x your reimbursement for that. You don't necessarily have to be doing immunizations to benefit from it. You can do well care checks and other amazing things. The software, we'll have Ray actually do a demo in the software for you too, because he can look up any provider anywhere in the country. Remember, he worked for 10 years with CMS, helping him with the quality scoring. So he can look up any provider and tell you exactly how compliant they are with Medicare, and you can fill in the gaps. If they're only that the national average is only 25% of 65 and older patients are getting their annual well care checks. You can do that as the pharmacy.
And we're signed up with DocStation already to do some of those calls, like adherence monitoring calls. So I'm assuming that it's something similar with what you guys have going on.
Takes it a couple of steps beyond what else is out there. So I'd encourage you to get a demo and take a look at it.
Yeah, I booked it with them already, so
Perfect.
I'm excited to hear about it more. So
awesome.
All right,
It does extend, Tim, the ability to bill under a different code. With what you're doing with DocStation, you're still billing as a pharmacist, scheduling as a pharmacist. We're doing it a little differently, and then you're able to bill as the licensed clinician that's affiliated under the collaborative practice agreement.
It's like a chronic care management, like the CCM and stuff,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
You're billing at that highest rate, not just the pharmacy rate, but the provider rate.
Wonderful. And you guys, with that CPA, we would have access to the info of the patients that the doctors have. It's not necessarily the patients that we serve at the pharmacy itself.
That's a good point. In fact, that's one of the things that we do, is that we get a patient list from the provider, and they're required to actually go in and update the care plan, which includes how the pharmacy would be seeing that patient as well. So you're gaining patients by doing this, and the providers are gaining access to a help in providing healthcare in the community as well.
Okay, awesome. We look forward to our meeting. Thank you. Thank you, Breck, for putting this together.
Yeah, you're welcome. Dr. Lewis, your hands up?
Yeah, just if I can add to the conversation. Hey, Tim, the other side of this is you're in the process of potentially building a clinic next to the pharmacy.
Right.
This may be a way for you to build that clinic with visits, and so making it easier to service them, and potentially a different blend of providers than you're currently servicing right now.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm encouraged, very encouraged. I think everything's aligned. So thank you, Demar, for your help too. Demar's been a rock star. He's been helping me out with this place too. So thank you guys.
Good deal.
For all your efforts.
Excellent. Well, thanks for the questions. Any other questions or comments that we can can help with. Again, encourage you to just, as Tim did, just set up a one-on-one with any of the presenters today to get more into the details. You can only cover so much when you're given only 5 or 10 minutes to cover things. I can't speak too highly of any of the services or products that are here. I've been a huge fan of GermsRx product from day one when I heard about that technology. It just makes perfect sense to me. So, take a good look, deeper look at that product as well. And
well, you do such a good job of hosting and trying to get things pulled together, Breck. You're such a good partner to have.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, we want to help save our industry. This is the industry that I've spent over 20 years in and love and want to keep it alive. And we'll probably still see some additional closures around the country. But I think with these new revenue and new profit centers that are coming in, we're going to start to see some backfilling happen. Because now, pharmacies are going to start to be profitable again, and they'll backfill into those communities and those areas where there were closures by opening a second and a third location. Imagine having this collaboration of being a wellness center for communities. We have the ability of being the largest footprint in the nation for healthcare. And it's through this collaboration that we're talking about, getting into the IPPN network and then setting up the clinical services to provide all the other solutions that BRIM brings to the wellness program. So, pretty exciting times that we're in. So, yeah, I'd love to answer any other questions. Again, I'll trim up some of the of this recording. And then get it out, the link to it out to everybody that was here today so you can do the replay on it. But highly encourage you to set up a one-on-one with our presenters. All right, well, thanks again, everyone, and I look forward to our follow-up meetings. Appreciate, again, all of our presenters, and look forward to seeing you all on the 14th of August. Be right before we fly out to Boston for the big national chain drugstore meeting that Will and I are headed out to. I'll head out the very next day for that. So, all right, thanks everyone. Appreciate you being here at the More Profit Community Pharmacy Roundtable. See, I'm trying to change my terminology there, Dr. Lewis. So. The More Profit Community Pharmacy Roundtable. Appreciate you being here, and we want to make sure that you're successful, so we'll do everything we can. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Have a great rest of your week.